Today is court in Florida in Levy County with Lynette, where Judge Craig DeThomas has been removed for illegal, unlawful activity. And the planet wants to know, will I come out of the court case with this fraudulent temporary injunction removed from me? The last court case we were in was with John Crook, as he was in Levy County Jail. He was appearing from jail, and it was for violation of the civil protection orders, permanent, that we have on both Lynette and Crook. Now, we have reached out to the Ohio courts to see if they recorded those, and unfortunately, this time around, they did not record them. So there'll be no puppet show, and it's sad because we had Chris Farley in his entire ninja suit all ready for this ridiculous, absolutely mind-boggling lawyer that represented them. LOL, lawyer. It was hilarious, and we're heartbroken we can't share it with you. But we know today will be recorded, and we will be sharing it with you. So thus far, the appellate courts, the higher courts, remember, Judge Craig DeThomas is at the lowest of the low in regards to judge. The higher courts have already deemed that what he's done is unlawful. If we look up the definition of unlawful, that means illegal. You know that, I know that. Judge Craig DeThomas knows that. He's not done with this entire situation, though. There are many things that he's done illegally. For example, 3 ex parte hearings that he did not disclose to myself or my legal team. Yeah, that's a major issue. And I have no doubt he is the laughingstock of the Levy County Courthouse right now. But today, since Judge DeThomas has been removed from the case, we're still working to get him removed from the bench permanently. Forever. We're going to go see Judge Davis. Now, everything I've heard about Judge Davis is this is a man that follows the law. He's a good man. It's the only thing I've heard. I've heard horrific things about Judge Craig DeThomas. I've heard horrific things about Silver Scam. Now, here's the funny thing. Lynette has actually, through her other mouthpieces, has stated, well, is Silver Scam gonna show? Is he not gonna show? And then has confirmed that he is going to show. Now, the one thing that we do know from personal testimony from many individuals in Levy County that want to share their story on What the Hales is Silver Scam will not work unless there is money in his pocket. So that left us with the conclusion of, money must be running out and something must have gotten into his pocket to make sure that he shows up today. Now, today is all about listening to motions. There were a ton of motions that were made in this case that Judge Craig DeThomas has completely and totally unlawfully ignored. Well, today, this isn't going to be the trial hearing. This is going to be the hearing of the motions, which will determine, is there even going to be a trial? Now, your next question is, what are the motions that are about to be heard? There's 4 motions that will be heard today. 1 is from Lynette and Silver Scam. 3 are from myself and Randy Shockett and Doreen Ingalls. So let's get to the first one. If you recall, we were going to depose and actually scheduled to depose and did attempt to depose John Crook. And then Silver Scam comes in and shuts it down, even though John Crook isn't represented by any legal counsel and still does not have any legal counsel. Isn't that interesting that all of these lawyers, LOL, are coming out of the YouTube woodwork to represent Lynette, but they're leaving Crook out there to fend for himself. So this is a major, major issue. Number 1, Crook has no filing of a motion of anybody who is actually representing him. Then a lawyer, LOL, comes in and tries to save him from the deposition, which no doubt is going to be incriminating. So that happened. And as such, I need to be compensated for that because I paid a ton of money to my lawyers to set that all up, my own time, their time, and the list goes on and on. What happened was illegal. Now, we're not going to press the deposition for Crook any longer in this actual civil case because we don't need it. We're going to depose him for days, not hours, days in the future in the federal case. Same as Lynette, same as Russ the Sus, same as Marla Huge, and there are others that are going to be deposed for the federal case. All of that information under oath will be used to then file further lawsuits against those individuals who have broke the law. So we don't need it. So their motion is to, hey, let's throw out the deposition of John Crook in this civil case, which we're going to say, okay, he's going to be deposed in the federal case anyway. So we have three different motions on my part. Number one, a motion that I have an injunction against her, which should already have happened in the state of Florida, because they must in good faith take the civil protections that I have from Ohio and place them and enforce them in Florida, which they have refused to do. Hopefully Judge Davis immediately goes, oh my goodness, what has been going on in Levy County, and corrects this immediately. Therefore, I would have an injunction on Lynette immediately. George would have an injunction on Lynette immediately. Number two, sanctions. Or think of this as they did fraudulent, frivolous, we could go on and on, sanctions that I am actually repaid for all the insanity that they have caused within this case. All the delays, all the things such as I already addressed. Silver Scam coming in with Crook when there is no motion of appearance for him even representing Crook. Still to this day, nobody has represented Crook. Well, there was that 600-pound ninja in Ohio who defies physics. How he even walked, I'm not sure yet. But we are looking for full sanctions, both in Ohio and here in Florida. So hopefully Judge Davis goes, oh my, this is not okay, and he awards those sanctions. Here's the deal with that. Silver Scam is responsible for 50% of all of that money. Now, Lynette obviously doesn't have it. Crook obviously doesn't have it. Although they are trying to buy monkeys. They must have something, but Silver Scam does. And so he can be held responsible for 50% of all of these sanctions and fees that I've had to go through as he has delayed, blocked, and illegally, my opinion, right? It's going to be up to the judge to determine whether illegal or not. And then the judge will go, Silver Scam, you have to pay Jeremy this much money. Okay. And then the last motion, the motion to throw this completely out of the court system and dismiss it. You got to recall, she has pled the fifth. Now, there are many misconceptions out there about pleading the fifth. When you file a lawsuit and then you refuse to speak pleading the fifth, you cannot have that lawsuit. That's not okay. That's not appropriate. And immediately it should be thrown out. Judge Craig DeThomas did none of that. The prayer is Judge Davis immediately throws it out after he rewards the injunction, after he rewards the sanctions, and then he throws this fraudulent suit out, and then we move forward to federal court. Let's get on the road and see what happens today in Levy County Courthouse. Hard to believe, but for the first time in over 9 months, I'm actually driving on all the frontage of my property on the public road, which was illegally taken from me. My rights were illegally taken from me by Judge Craig DeThomas. I'm in awe. I am truly in awe. I am right by Turd Purgatory right now. This is my property right here. We're passing it. We're on it. There's Tubetown. I can't believe this. I'm actually almost a year into this. 9 months later, I can finally, legally drive on my road and access my property again. No doubt, you were wondering, as I was wondering, what would happen. I mean, it's Levy County. Anything could happen. Judge Craig DeThomas's country. Well, this is what I witnessed and what I saw as I pulled up to the courthouse. There's Silver Scam right there.
Oh, that's Lynette on the passenger side. Lynette is on the passenger side. That means Crook is violating the civil protection order right now. He's well within 500 feet. And oh, and that child is left in that vehicle. Interesting. The Ten Commandments. Lynette dyed her hair again for court. No money, but she's got plenty of money to dye her hair, huh?
I honestly had no idea what to expect going into Judge Davis's courtroom, especially after almost 9 months with Judge Grudge. My hope was high. I was prepared for anything, though, except for what actually happened. It blew my mind yet again. As soon as I went into the courtroom, understanding that Judge Davis set aside 2 hours to hear 4 motions, and my legal team, Randy and Doreen, were ready with an arsenal of information and combative evidence, real evidence, in regards to what has taken place in Levy County. So the first thing that happens is Silver Scam is actually stating before Judge Davis gets into the courtroom that he needs to talk to Randy, but he doesn't trust me. Well, my opinion, he probably doesn't trust Lynette. I don't know too many people. As a matter of fact, I don't know any people that do after they've gotten to know her. Long story short, what it comes down to is the temporary injunction and everything that has to go with it. Whether that's gone to the state attorney's office, whether any claim she's made against me, Mark Feather, anyone else, all dismissed. It's gone. It's a clean slate. I can live a life yet again. Except you're probably wondering, well, how would they get to this point in the first place? Well, let's break it down just a little bit. We already know she claimed to plead the fifth over and over and over again. As a matter of fact, I have 7 hours of her deposition, which will follow this in successive days in regards to her deposition. And so we know she pled the fifth. And we know you can't do that in court. You cannot, in civil court, bring a lawsuit to the court and then plead the fifth within the court under oath. You don't get both, one or the other. What she did was illegal. There is no defense against what she did. There is no way that she could have won whatsoever. So obviously, it's going to be dismissed, right? I think you know that. I know that. But I think also Silver Scam probably figured out who he actually aligned with and didn't want anything else to do with it. I mean, number one, there's no money, which, by the way, everyone who gave her money is gone. They'll never, ever see a penny of it. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm sure they were promised that they were going to get money back. And there's still promises out there. Well, we're going to have him do this in another court case, and we're going to get him here, and there's this money over here, and we're going to grab that. Yeah, nothing has worked that way yet. I think you realize that. I think I realize that. There was no defense whatsoever, number one, against her pleading the fifth, which automatically means it must be dismissed. It's gone. It's gone. But even if we go back even further than that, if this case would have been brought before Judge Davis in the first place, it never would have even been heard. Because there was nothing, absolutely nothing that I did that was illegal. And I'm going to continue to keep it that way. I mean, I'm a citizen journalist. I share what's going on and the news of my life. Now, you may be thinking, okay, so Lynette is done with Silver Scam. Silver Scam is done with Lynette. In the past, we've thought about them, synonymous. They're two birds of a feather. I think one bird wants nothing to do with that nest. I think that bird has flown and that bird is gone. And I want to be very clear. I hold no ill will against Silver Scam or Brent. As a matter of fact, at the end of the hearing, when Lynette was not there, when the judge was not there, I told both of them, listen, fellas, I apologize that you were ever a part of this, that you ever gotten involved in this. I truly mean that. From the heart, from the depth of my heart, I mean that. I'm sorry that you guys were all a part of this. And Josh said, not Joshua, Josh said, thank you. And so I think myself and Josh and Brent all parted with the same understanding that Lynette and Crook are very dangerous individuals who try to destroy people's lives. I think that understanding exists between the three of us men together. Now, there are others that haven't quite figured that out yet. And I think they're very well on their way to figuring that out. Now, can she continue to try and file fraudulent different things in the court system? Yeah, she can. And she could do it with other lawyers, and she can continue to try. So number one, what that does for her is puts it right before Judge Craig Thomas again. And what does he have to do? He has to remove himself, recuse himself, which then means it's probably going to go to Judge Davis. Now, Judge Davis has already seen all of this information. Judge Davis does not ever want to see any of this in his courtroom again. He was very, very, very clear about that to both myself and Lynette. Now, keep in mind, I've never brought it to the courtroom. I haven't brought any of this into the Florida courtrooms. I went to my state of residency, brought it to their courtroom, where Lynette and Crook have both been found guilty. Number one, they have permanent civil protection orders on them. Number two, they have violated it continually, and we are filing another claim against her violating it. Remember when she said, oh, so scared, she rolled the window down? Well, we didn't play the video in the last hearing because we were waiting for it for a separate hearing, which would be another violation and an infraction on the civil protection order. What this all comes down to is this. I'm a free man. Can you believe this? I'm a free man. I can literally drive and access all my property again. If I want to go to Tubetown, baby, I can go to Tubetown, baby. I can have firearms again. Whoa. Won't that be nice? I can actually protect myself and my loved ones again. We all know that this was frivolous in the first place. It cost me a tremendous amount of money, and it cost me a tremendous amount of stress. As of right now, it is time to celebrate. Now, I'm sure there are going to be other issues down the road. They're not caused by me. I'll have to respond to them. But right now, the reality is we are celebrating yet another victory. Mary, she's gone. Russ the Sus, he's gone. We got Don the Con, he's gone. There is no point for George and I to go to any more town hall meetings to film. And so we have already made that decision. We will not be at any more town hall meetings to film. There's nothing to film for accountability. And that's the only reason why we were filming, was for accountability. So don't look for any more town hall meetings on What the Hales, because we don't need it. Now, if there's a point where we have to come back in for accountability, then that could happen. But as of right now, not going to happen. We have no desire to film any more town hall meetings. Just like when we first started to go to town hall meetings, we didn't film them. We filmed for accountability. Now, we'll continue to film for accountability as we drive past those who we have civil protection orders on, because we have that legal right to do that. And we will continue to do that. With that being said, you realize there are people coming out of the woodwork going, well, I want a piece of that fame. I want a piece of that. The one thing Lynette and Crook don't understand, as these individuals are making all these promises to them, yeah, we're going to get Jeremy. We're going to get his money. We're going to get other individuals. We're going to get their money. What they're not telling her is that she is liable. She will be held legally liable for every countersuit. She will be held legally liable, financially liable for everything that's a response to the frivolous claims that she's placing in the court system. You know, they're making empty promises of I'm going to get money for you. But the reality is, she has to come to grips with, I could lose literally everything if a judgment goes against me and not my way. So if they want to play a game in court, it's a very, very dangerous game to play, especially when you are making filings that go against the law, where there's case law that immediately tells you, hey, this should not be in the court system, with the understanding of all the countersuits that are going to come on top of that as well. If you break the law, the only way to get justice for that is the court system, right? That's the world we live in. And so that's the route we take. But you can't abuse that system. And that's what's happening in Florida. It's unfortunate. But as of right now, today, victory, baby! Victory! I got my life back. I'm a free man. As a matter of fact, I think I'm going to go for a drive.